Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, folks? How is everybody doing this morning? Hope you all are well. Let me get over into the live stream channel. And let's get this screen sharing going, especially now that we got this data coming out. Market dipping. Let's see, there we go. Go live with that. And so we had CPI this morning. Came in a little hot, not crazy high. The core inflation came in about 0.2% higher than the consensus. Essentially, it's in line. It didn't drop on that. Year over year, at least, month over month, ticked up by 0.1%, and then CPI came in at 308 versus a consensus of 307. Well, 308 and some change versus just under 308 as far as the consensus. So numbers were a little hot on the CPI readings, but overall not extraordinarily hot. So not surprised though. I mean, I think we're actually due for a little bit of a dip. So let's talk about this from a chart perspective. And sorry, I wasn't around a little bit more yesterday to kind of share this stuff as I was noticing it, but I had a board meeting yesterday, and it's my once a month, second Monday of every month, have to do this thing, and it sometimes eats up the whole day. So, anyway, long story short, we've been talking about this being in a potential channel for a little while back here on ES. We essentially tapped the top of the channel yesterday. So I think that's really what caused this rejection, although the CPI numbers, not too surprised that they're coming in a little bit hot, kind of right at a key selling opportunity, seem to be slicing through this demand zone at the moment, but we've got another big demand zone below as well as the bottom of this channel, and we're coming into the buying pressure here on Neptune on the higher time frames. So be interesting to see if this holds up. Just looking at this from an hourly perspective, got some confluence down here as well, testing the 200 SMA here on the hourly, which again we've been overextended from for quite a while now. So it's about time I'd say that we revisited it. We also have the 333 just below, so kind of think of this whole zone right here as a whole another area of potential buying pressure here on the hourly chart. So we're starting to just now test that, finding a little bit of buying activity down there. Overall, I don't think this changes the narrative too much. In my personal opinion, I think the Fed has continued to say what they've said for a long time, which is we're planning on cutting rates, and probably second half of 2024 we'll start to do that. They've said multiple times that they're fairly confident that we've hit the peak rate for this hike. I think this is probably ultimately going to be a good buy the dip opportunity this morning. So just my 2 cents on it, but let's talk about it through the lens of some of our recent trade plans that we've done. Kind of came in and hammered right through all that in the first 4 minutes before I let people join, so maybe I should have given a little bit more time, but our time is limited, so early bird gets the worm, right? But for those who weren't here for the first few minutes, the long story short version is, I'd say as long as ES is holding 49.55, buy the dip. All right. So let's get some good mornings in. What's up, Sataru? What's up, PJ? What's up, Navy Plum? Always good to see you here, buddy. Denny, CD, Chris, as always. What's up, buddy? Chris, I don't know. I got a little bit tied up this morning, but since I'm in the middle of this, if you wouldn't mind just kind of putting out a message to the options and stock chats, just let everybody know that we're up and running this morning, and they're more than welcome to join. I'd appreciate it, brother. Thank you. So what's up, Strife? What's up, everybody? All right, so again, just ooh, gosh, what does that equal for? I don't know. There's probably a calculator for that somewhere. I don't know exactly what that would be. I guess we could look at it real quick. I mean, because the charts are gonna look the same. Here's like a big picture, long-term SPY chart, high levels only. So let's see. ES, we're talking about this level right here. Well, you know what? We might not be able to see that as well on SPY. I think it's probably right about this level. So about 491.24-ish, I would guesstimate. Somewhere around there. It's probably that same... whoops. Wrong. Damn, where am I going? There we go. Probably around that, yeah. 491.25. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over that illness I had last week, and my voice is still kind of struggling a little bit, so apologies if I am making terrible sounds or don't sound too great. I promise you I feel fine. I feel way better than I did last week, I'll tell you that much. Alright, so yeah, again, we are overall pulling back on some hot CPI numbers, but again, yesterday, ultimately, I think we just rejected the top of the channel. This, we kind of could have seen this coming a little bit. I wish I could have shared what I was noticing, but I again mentioned that I have that once a month meeting. It's a kind of the one meeting each month that I have that's like super important and takes a long time, and it just ate up so much of my time yesterday. I was all over the place. So anyway, pulling back some off of that midday rejection. Not surprised to see it continuing to pull back, but again, I'd say charts over the news, charts over data, which says, we've got a ton of buying pressure down here, and we've got this channel that we've been in for a little while now on ES that should continue to move us to the upside. If we get below, again, 49.55 ES-wise, that's when I would start to be concerned. Until then, I would look to really focus on buying the dip. At least for now. So just to recap some of our trade plans, member selected tickers that we did over the weekend. Apple was amongst them. Get a little more real estate for our charts here. That's broken down below the put entry level here going into the close yesterday, now pushing down below PT1. Looks like it's catching some support at this hourly level at 185 flat. PT2 is a little bit lower than that. Down here at 184.47, but certainly if you took Apple puts going into the close based on the breakdown and back test of the put entry, and for those of you using Neptune, full bearish setup here on the 15-minute, pushing things to the downside. You got your breakdown, your back test as resistance right there. That's a great entry with all that bearishness overhead. So if you took that, I would certainly be looking to scale out some profits here this morning. Move your stops up. I would say move it up to this, maybe just above PT1, right where this dip bottomed out pre-market, right around 185.80. That's where I'd have my stops at. That should keep you stopping out for profit at this point. Next on our member selected tickers, we also had Tesla. Tesla breaking down pretty much in the middle of the day yesterday below the put entry. Again, kind of a full bearish setup on Neptune. Breaking down, got very close to PT1. I did mention this in the chat, though, the couple of times I did have some, a chance to look and kind of chime in with things. I did say yesterday, go ahead and take some profit here at the 333 versus waiting for PT1. So if you were looking to get out intraday, that was the key exit point. But yeah, so hopefully you guys caught that when I did have a chance to share this piece of info in the chat. Because that 333 is a pretty strong kind of dynamic support in my opinion. And so we saw that try to hold as support. We broke down below, back testing, rejecting down. Now we're below PT2, going for PT3. to the downside here on Tesla. So congrats if you're in this one. Definitely scale out heavy at open. Take those profits, move the stops up. I would move it up again to probably wherever this pre-market support that we just lost was at. So probably around 186-ish. If it goes over that, I would take the rest of my profits. But those are only runners at that point. That's just booking more profit. Don't ever let those go red. All right, Palo Alto Networks was the last one from the member selected tickers. This one kind of came out of the blue. Was very heavily driven because, Palo Alto's essentially just been on an absolute tear to the upside. So this, pretty much every level on this chart right now is based on what I would consider to be kind of micro levels, or lots of kind of fib studies and trying to figure out exactly how we would want to project, where our key support resistances are going to be in an area with very little price history. So this one, and if I didn't mention it, I certainly did mean to mention it. I don't think I did. Be a little bit more cautious with this trade plan because, again, it's based on very minimal actual price history. A lot of it's based on, essentially calculating support and resistance off of some micro levels. So if you're in this one, it seems to be playing out, catching PT1, trying to bounce off this morning. But really no confirmed entry yet. So honestly, from an option standpoint, you couldn't be in this yet. I would wait to see what happens if we get a back test to that 368.93. Really nice confluence setting up there of resistance. So that can wind up being a pretty solid spot to take a entry for a rejection and grab some puts. But that being said, remain cautious, go small with this plan because, again, we don't have a lot of price data up in this area that we're in. So I meant to mention that with the post that I put out over the weekend, but I know full well I didn't. Even though I intended to, I was trying to get that out and get back to the Super Bowl. So anyway, all right. So those are our trade plan recaps. Oh, what was that one that you that we said like buy the dip on? Yeah, AMSC. How did that one finish up? I did want to circle back to that one real quick. So this was one that I kind of went out on a limb for those of you who were on the no way. That's awesome. So, yeah, for those of you who, what did I just do? Who weren't around for this one, this is crazy. So it got all three of our price targets. That's fantastic. Yeah, for those of you who were around for this was last Thursday's live stream, and you know what I realized, Chris, and I totally kicked myself afterward because it's something that I don't do very often, and we nailed it. Anyway, we did some analysis on this one. Chris being the I don't know, you're like the truffle pig of like gold stock picks. Like you just find those like diamonds in the rough. You find that like beautiful priceless truffle in the dirt that's just amazing. And so this AMSC one, I've never heard of. We did a very quick plan on it, and just at a glance looking at it based on some things I was seeing, I was like, listen, I think this is actually as long as we hold 10-13 going into the open, I'd say just go ahead and buy this one at the open, right? And set targets at 1093, 1191, and 1309. This thing was beat to hell. I know that there were people trying to short it up in this range where after we had already gotten to PT1, but man, I couldn't have called that one any better. Yeah, truffle pig, truffle dog, whatever. I'm a foodie, so like immediately I go to like truffles. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm sure it is at first, but it's a compliment. I mean it in the best way possible. It is totally a compliment. So anyway, yeah, Chris absolutely nailed this one. I was curious about this because I know it was still grinding higher. Last I looked at it, I didn't know it had actually just totally lifted off and ran for PT3 and then some. So congrats if you guys followed that buy at open recommendation. You could have ridden that for essentially, 30% almost on shares in a few trading days. That's pretty freaking awesome. But, Chris, the thing I was getting to earlier that I totally feel awful about is I hit start stream on my OBS software for the YouTube stream, and I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, the YouTube stream didn't catch that Thursday live stream. It's not recorded. So, God, if there's some way to dig it up on Discord, or if anybody who watches these is recording these at home to watch back at your leisure, let me know if you've got any snippets from that AMSC call on Thursday, because that thing was just a beauty. Can't believe it. All right, so let's get to some new trade plans, since we're talking about going out there and getting that money. Let's see, so let me go through the chat here. Looks like the first one, PJ wants to see Etsy. Okay. Oh, man, I missed your message about it. Chris, you already told me about AMSC. Yeah, it was great minds think alike. I didn't see your message. I just want to circle back to that because I wanted to see how it finished up. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. You the best. All right. Let's go. So we've got Etsy, and Chris asked for you. I feel like we got to do it after we're putting so much hype on his picks. All right, let's see. What do we got going on with Etsy this morning besides selling off with the market? Etsy is not one, if I have charted, not anywhere in this price range. Let's see, let's take a bigger picture look at this. I was going to say, I thought this thing used to trade in the hundreds of dollars a share. Yeah, I've looked at it at some point. Excuse me, way long time ago. I'm kind of surprised to see Etsy beat this up. So, I'm in the process of finishing getting things together for a wedding in April. And the amount of money my fiance has spent on stuff from Etsy for the wedding, I'm surprised this thing isn't worth thousands of dollars a share. Okay, so let's figure it out. Yeah, she be on that Etsy right now. She is Etsy. Oh my God. But, when you want all that, I feel like it all kind of has the same, Etsy has a look. Every person making stuff on Etsy is essentially using the same templates. It just all popped up a bunch of different stores selling the same stuff. But, again, people will spend money on freaking Etsy. I've seen multiple examples of it lately, so it's kind of an interesting coincidence that this one was requested. Etsy's been a part of my life lately. Well, I'm rejoining the group, so this will be my second marriage. But yeah, trust me, I know what I'm getting into. For the most part. Alright, what else? Where's this coming off of? That is actually interesting. This break over and bounce there. Yeah, it's got enough touches. I like that. Excuse me. Again, I apologize. I'm still clearing stuff out, it feels like, from the February flu, whatever it was. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't have a better answer for that other than you're right. So this is in response to you, day trade options. You're right. I feel like I did a good job of figuring out what I don't want the first go round. I will say that. So she doesn't check any of those boxes. But no, I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a happy life. Happy wife, happy life, right? Alright, let's see. Is there something? I think it's a little bit higher than that. It's like right about there. It's like a little bit more of a premature rejection there. Alright, we gotta fill in some blanks down in this range because we're probably gonna need them if this breaks to the downside. Yeah, I think that's like right there. Yeah, there's something right about there. Actually, there's that one. That's the one I was looking for. In there. Okay, let's see what that gives us. Alright, let's check out this 4-hour chart. Let's see what that shows us. Yeah, no, it's a good call, PJ. It's one I haven't even thought about in a long time, and it definitely has. It's got its own little niche, right? Like it's not really in competition with. I mean, I'm sure from a high enough level perspective, you could say it's in competition with Amazon, but it does kind of have its own little niche. And I know I got friends who are, I used to work a lot with local artists way back, I don't want to say that, but back in my like mid-20s when I was doing like event productions and stuff like that. And I mean, all of them are selling stuff on Etsy now, and a lot of them are doing pretty well with it. And then so that's like the kind of the more higher level kind of stuff that you get on there. But then you've also got the kind of the whole, hey, let us do custom whatever you want for your whatever event. I mean, that Etsy seems to be the freaking go-to for that now. So yeah, they've got their own little niche that seems to be working well for them. Like I said, I'm surprised to see them so beat up, but and this is really probably where having 007 around would be very helpful, because that guy understands kind of the I'm more of a chartist is what I would call myself. I'm a chart trader, whereas he understands the fundamentals, like what a business should be showing on their earnings reports and stuff like that, and what looks good and what looks bad and all that. And I'm like, that's kind of more business analysis than stock analysis. So I'm sure he would be able to tell us very quickly, like, oh yeah, well, they were trading at blah 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 price to earnings and all that sort of stuff. He'd probably be all over that, and we know exactly why Etsy's so beat up and why it's not worth $200 a share still. Yeah, I think there's something sitting right about here. Alright, what else do we have? I'm going to kind of just fill them in as needed. I'm just going to check as we write up this trade plan, but I think I've got a decent sense. Let's see what the old indicators say. Alright, so I think that there's a potential short opportunity if we continue down below 70, what is that, 72.86? Feel like this level might actually need to be just a little bit higher. I think it sits more like right there, which then gives us our stop loss. First price target. This is an interesting spot right here. Yeah, there could be small support, but there could be a bounce here, so we certainly want to start scaling out at this spot. Below that, so it's going to be kind of a tight PT1, PT2, but then third price target. And again, I'm kind of filling in the blanks a little bit. I mean, it could go as far as 66.71, I think. I would maybe be a little bit more conservative, though, and recommend going ahead and taking the rest of the profits at 68.10. If you want to hold maybe one contract to see if it does go lower, go for it. To the upside, be interesting to see if it can climb back over. Whoops, get out of here. There we go. I already like this. I've kind of been watching these levels for the upside part of this plan as I've been charting it out. Hang on, let me hide this real quick. So this really, well, kind of, let me see something. I want to get an idea of, yeah, see, this doesn't really trade very well during extended hours. So if there's going to essentially, I think, ultimately be what I would consider a gap to the upside that needs to fill from wherever we open up to about 78, 71. So I like that as a first price target. Gap fill could certainly reject. I like this as a second price target. Let's see where PT3 should be for the upside. Yeah, so great point, Strife, and for small boy. Yeah, I would like, I've got a lot of people who watch the SPY chart, use the SPY chart and the SPY plan to trade SPX, to trade ES, pretty much any of the S&P vehicles you can use the SPY plan for. Yeah, we have another level up here, and I think that's going to be our third price target. So this is what our trade plans look like for Etsy. And let's flip these back on. Okay, so this is upside. And I'll talk us through this real quick. But for those who are new to checking out these trade plans or new to these live streams, make sure that you're paying attention to the properties that I'm applying to these lines. So the heavy dotted lines, the solid lines, dashed lines, where these green areas and white shaded areas are. That will help you visualize these trade plans. Feel free to replicate this on your own charts if it makes it easier for you to follow. Certainly encourage you to do that. But here is your Etsy trade plan. And again, pay attention to these line properties as I point them out. That'll help you start to be able to follow these at a glance versus having to like read through a detailed description of the trade plan. So what we're looking for here on Etsy to play for downside continuation is a break below 72.86, this solid line. That should give us price targets at 70.91 dashed line 69.86 dash line and 68.10 dash line. That is our profit area, with a stop loss up here at this heavy dotted line at 74.46, which gives us our risk area, the white shaded area. So again, break to the downside 72.86, targets at 70.91, 69.86, and 68.10. The stop loss average down at 74.46. To the upside, we're looking for a break over the solid line at 76.62 with targets at 78.71, gap fill, scale out heavy there. Next target 80.22, and over that 82.40, dash line, dash line, dash line. Profit zone, heavy dotted line, stop loss at 75.42. That is your risk area, the shaded white area. So again, break over 76.62. We're looking for targets at 78.71, 80.22, and 82.40, with a stop loss average down at 75.42. That is your Etsy trade plan. All right, so let's get to you from my boy Chris, who will be dropping those dimes, those bomb trades. All right, what is this? You is one I have not looked at in I don't know how long. I don't know why this whole background is shaded white. It kind of looks like I was starting to use my line properties when I did this trade plan, or these levels. You know what, these probably need to be updated anyway. I don't know when the last time I looked at this was. I'm not gonna mess with that. Let's just start from scratch. That'll give me a better perspective on things anyway. Whoops. Alright, so let's start with our levels. Whoa. Man. Yeah, you've been beat up. Alright. Let's go. There's clearly something here, but we'll need to see that on a different time frame. I'm also kind of intrigued by this level as well. Not really, nothing confirmed on those yet, so I'm just using those blue lines as placeholders for when I look at other time frames. Whoops, why did I do that? There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, you know, I think it's barely there, but it's there. Actually, it might be just a nudge. Yeah, right there. Yeah, there's something there. Alright, that's probably all we're gonna be able to squeeze. Well, no, take that back. Let me check this real quick. Yeah, I'd say it's right about there. There's another level in there. Okay, so like I said, probably about all we're going to squeeze out of this time frame. I do want to take a look at this real quick. Yeah, that's okay. Alright, so let's look at the 24-hour chart. Alright, let's see if we can't figure out what these blue levels are. Not... Well, actually, this one could be a daily level if we just nudge it a little bit right there. Yep. Still don't know what that other blue level is though, so we'll figure that out. Alright, let's go. I'm going to try to speed this up a bit if I can. Oops. Whoa, 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 what the hell just happened? Training view went 8 on me for a second there. Alright. There we go. Alright, anything else that sticks out on this daily chart? Yeah, this isn't. What the why does that keep happening? Alright, what is going on? For some reason my keyboard shortcuts are not working all of a sudden. There we go. Golly. Okay. And actually this is a little bit lower. Yeah, I think there's right about there. Alright, what is going on here? Alright. Anything else that jumps out at me? Alright, let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. We've got to figure out what's going on down here with this blue level. There is a level, it's probably sitting right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark this off just because that's an interesting bounce there. Mark this off too, but again, these aren't really established levels. They're just worth watching. I don't even know if our plan is going to take us down that far. Alright, let's take a quick look here. Definitely something sitting right about here. That is an interesting little level there. And there. Yeah, we're kind of testing a level here as we head into the open. Let's see. Yeah, it's right about there. And I like that level too. And maybe one last one for good measure. Alright, let's fill in the blanks from here as needed. So okay, there's a little opportunity in here, I think, actually. If we break below this weekly level, It's going to be a pretty tight little window for this first part of this plan, but it's also a ticker that trades in the below 50 range, so small price wise is actually pretty decent percentage wise. Alright, there is a blank I want to fill in here that I definitely didn't have charted yet. Then below that, I think there's a bigger move to the downside, down to 29.32 potentially. Now for the upside, this is going to be another interesting one. Let me just check something real quick. I'm curious. Not much there. Okay. Trying to figure out, this is an interesting, still, or not interesting, it's a little bit tough to figure out where, because we're taking a pretty big drop this morning. I'm trying to figure out how I want to work that to our advantage. I think there is something about here too. Alright, whoops. So for the upside, yeah, okay, alright, I got it, sorry, just took me a second. You know what, I would like to be back above this first though. There is a little something there too. Alright, so this is what I'm thinking. This is a non-factor. I'm not going to use that either. I think that's our first target. Second target. Yeah, there is something right about here. Fill in that blank. And then this maybe I shot a little high on. I play that. Yeah, I play that next rejection up there. So, this is what these plans look like. Alright. Oh, let me check this real quick. Gosh, that would have been silly. Ooh. You know, that does kind of change things a little bit, actually. Alright, that's okay. Not a major adjustment. This is what I would change, though, based on the indicators. Bump that up to there. Let's switch this out. For this entry, I want to get back over that 333 on the hourly. Slight adjustment. That still looks good to me though. Alright, here is your U trade plan. So just to talk through these real quick. To play this for the upside, we're looking for a break back above 33.25. That should give us targets at 33.98, 34.53, and 35.55. With the stop loss average down at 32.51. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 31.53 with targets at 30.91, 30.35, and 29.32. With a stop loss average down at 31.98. those are your Unity software trade plans. All right. With that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. We will be back Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next FOMO live stream. I'm going to go ahead and get the SPY plan put together for you guys and get that up in the watch list. So I hope you'll come back Thursday and join me for that. In the meantime, trade your plan. Whoops, I messed up my own catchphrase. Plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there, get some green. Have a great day. SPY plan coming at you here shortly. Talk to you.